How many times have you heard me tell you a story and then say, we'll keep you posted, or we're staying on this one, or watch this space? It's a lot. And I mean it when I say it. And case in point, way back in February, a self-styled Hollywood producer and nightlife promoter was convicted of murdering two models that he picked up at a rave in 2021. David Pearce drugged the women and then raped them. But when neither woman showed any signs of life, he didn't call 911. He instead dumped their bodies outside of two separate hospitals. Pearce was convicted of that, but also a slew of other horrible crimes that we didn't even know about back then, like the rape of 7 other women who survived and who came forward after news of his arrest. And here's another update. This week, Pearce was back in an LA courtroom where a judge called him charming and smart, and in her words, the worst kind of criminal. And then the judge gave Pearce the maximum sentence, 146 years in prison, 25 to life for each murder, and the rest of the time for the rapes. Even now, the defense says prosecutors twisted the facts and are punishing an innocent man for a party gone wrong. Ronda Dixon is one of Pearce's attorneys, and this is her first national TV appearance post-sentencing. Ronda, thank you so much for being on with me right now. I've got so many questions. 146 years, ouch. What is the basis for the appeal that I know you already have planned?
There's numerous bases for the appeal. Besides ineffective assistance of counsel, which is one that's always thrown in here, I think he got let down. He had 7 different attorneys. We talked from the very beginning, and he just also, I think he was too involved in his own defense and didn't, unfortunately, he didn't get the help that he needed until it was too late. So in my new trial motion, I make a lot of points, and one of the points is that during the indictment, there's one of the doctors, Dr. Pedro Ortiz, who states that there's a difference between manner of death and cause of death. Medical examiners can opine about the cause of death, which was multiple drug interactions, but the manner of death, homicide, accidental, suicide, those are all things that the trier of fact has to figure out. That means the jury. So early on in this case, there was a narrative. For instance, like you said, he dumped the bodies. Before I took this case on, I made sure to look at the video. He did not dump the bodies. He actually made sure and brought them into the hospital. It was during COVID. So at that time, they didn't even open the hospital doors. He was outside of Kaiser for a long time.
Can I stop you right there, Ronda, just for a moment? Because I was curious about that, too. I want to show the pictures that we have of the surveillance camera, because I can tell you right now, he didn't walk them into the hospital. This van pulled up, and they pulled the body of one of the women, Christy Giles, out of it. She was DOA, so he did not walk her in. And Hilda Cabrales Arzola was taken to a whole other hospital, Kaiser Permanente, West Los Angeles, and wasn't taken there for another 2 hours. So what do you suppose was going on there, especially in the fact that they had their license plates were off the car and they were masked?
So as you can see, one of the people that is putting her on the gurney, this one with the design on his back, that's David. David is helping them to put her in, and you're showing the video. You're not showing the entire video because he walks in and out of the hospital several times. He gets the mask from the security. So that's not what happened. He didn't dump them at the curb. As the DA said, he did actually put them into the hospital. At this time, they don't want him in the hospital.
I do want to say that the report is that the 2 men looked on and that they left without giving their names. And they said they just found this woman passed out on the curb somewhere nearby. They were just trying to be good Samaritans. Well, we know that's just not true. And again, how do you account for the 2 hours between dropping one woman at one hospital and then going to a whole other hospital 2 hours later with another? Why, if they were truly worried about these women, why didn't they take both women to this hospital and tell these emergency responders, I got 2 women?
Because at the time, they didn't know that the other woman, she wasn't in as acute of a situation as the one that they brought in the first time. What he told me was that she was in a certain state, and so he took her right as soon as he could. But the other person, when they came back from dropping off the first lady, that's when they noticed that she was in acute distress. And she did go on to live some 7 to 11 days after that. So she wasn't in as acute of distress. You also have to look at the fact that the first girl that passed away first, she was 90 pounds. She weighed 90 pounds. The other one was 120 pounds. It's very unfortunate that people die from fentanyl, but they had fentanyl in the compact
I
that they were.
agree. It's horrible. Rhonda, what do you make of them not having license plates on the car, though? That is awfully sketchy. You know, for any jury, they're going to look at that. You're wearing masks. You won't give your name. You've got your license plates taken off the car. It's hard to get past those facts.
Well, this case sends out a bad precedent, because if I wouldn't help a person either if they were in an overdose of stress. I ran a substance abuse clinic for 7.5 years on Crenshaw and 48th, right in the heart of the hood. And what I found was I feel like these women accidentally overdosed. They overdosed themselves, and that's what Dr. Pedro Ortiz said. He said they were very reckless with the use of drugs for their own self. There's no evidence to show that he actually, he probably didn't participate in their death, but he panicked when they died and pretty much didn't know what to do. And that was 3 of them there. And Ansbach, which should be suspect number 3, he turned state's evidence and came up with this really cute phrase, "Dead girls don't tell no tales," which I don't think that he said. But it became the sort of theme of the whole.
Rhonda, I would like to continue our conversation as the appeal is launched. I'm just so short on time on this particular show because we had some issues with your technical. But would you come back and join me again?
Sure.
Great. Sure. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Ronda Dixon joining us, David Pearce's attorney.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.